Josef Newgarden, Robin Miller. This was a good old-fashioned butt-whooping in mid-Ohio. Led 73 of 90 laps. Tell me about that pass he put on Will Power. Talk about making a statement. Hey there, old man. I'll take the lead.
Even Power said after the race, he did a little fake and got on push to pass and cut back. And it was a thing of beauty. And then he just pulled away instantly. And you know, I keep thinking about, and I'm not picking on Tim Cindric, but I keep thinking about sitting in the grandstands with him at Laguna many years ago saying, why don't you guys pick up Josef Newgarden? And he said, well, he's too young.
Yeah.
And he's a little immature. He crashes a little too much. And I said, I know, but he's trying to keep up with you guys. So whatever changed Tim's mind, I'm glad it did, because he's the Penske perfect driver. We've both written that and said that for years. And very few first-year Penske drivers ever do what this kid's doing. I mean, Pagenaud struggled a little bit. Will Power struggled a little bit. This kid, not only is he leading the points, he's kicking ass and taking names, and he's good everywhere. Road courses, street courses, and ovals. And he's a delight with the media, and the fans love him. So he's pretty much exactly what IndyCar needs.
First year in, Team Penske. No slump like Pagenaud had in 2015. New engineer for him, having to get to know him. So this is, I mean, other than knowing Chevy and being familiar with the Chevy engine and aero kit, he's had to learn every single thing. No comfort zones. 3 wins, more than anybody this year. And yeah, to your point, we've given Roger a hard time for many years about, other than Sam Hornish. I mean, we're looking back many years since he was really invested in an American. This kid shows up year one, more wins than anybody, just took over the championship lead. To your point, I don't know why they didn't hire him sooner, but they sure as heck are happy that they have him now.
Well, think about Montoya. Montoya even said last year when he got this year when he got replaced, he goes, "I don't blame him. They should hire that kid. He's good. I think I'd like to. I think I can still drive, and I'd like to have a ride.
As good as
Juan's, but he, you know, that takes a lot for a guy as proud as Montoya is and as good as he is to say they did the right thing. The timing was right for him, and maybe it wasn't before. But you know, I give it Sarah Fisher and Ed Carpenter and Wink.
Oh yeah,
Hartman a big plus because they believed in Josef, or he might be a sports car driver now. If somebody hadn't stepped up, who knows what his career would have been like.
So we have Will Power, who seemed to accept his fate. He kept trying, but yeah. I mean, Josef pulled out to a comfortable margin, maintained it. I mean, he controlled this race. There was very little question, other than that restart when Ed Jones spun and the yell that came out late in the race. That was the only real moment where you didn't know if Will might get by. But tell me about Graham Rahal. Home race, obviously, finished third. Third might not sound like much. First Honda runner, and you look at all the Andretti cars, all the Ganassi cars he put behind him. He was the only guy trying to spoil the Penske party. One-car team. I mean, this continues to impress us.
Here's the thing. I think he had the fastest lap of the weekend in the second practice session, in the second qualifying session. And he almost crashed when he was putting his last really good lap together in the Fast 6. He was 4/10 up. I think if he starts on the pole, he probably, if you're in clean air and you're as fast as he was all weekend, you probably win the race. So he wasn't doing cartwheels for finishing third because I think he knows what the end game was. Boy, if I hadn't have made that mistake in qualifying, but I just think he's driving. I told David Letterman today, I said he's driving exactly like we all figured he would.
Yeah.
I mean, he's become a really good qualifier again. He's like you said yesterday in the video, he might be the best racer in the paddock right now.
The video that was corrupted, we weren't able to show you.
Sorry, it was a video that didn't make it.
We spoke yesterday on what we had hoped to file, and both agreed that, you know, we've said this too, so we're just repeating ourselves. But Graham continues to prove he is the racer, the one who you know is going to go forward and do big things in each race. It's pretty cool demonstration there for him. Let's talk a little bit about Scott Dixon. Came in as the championship leader, slim, 3-point margin over Elio. June was a good month for Dix. Won at Road America, bolstered that championship lead. We're about to move into August. I'm thinking Dixie's just going to want to forget July as a whole, from Iowa to Toronto to here. This has not been the best month for our boy Dixie.
No, and he's only 8 points out of first with 4 races to go. So yeah. I kidded him in the interview we did on NBC. I said, this is usually when you start to make your move. He goes, yeah, well, that's what we've been saying the last 3 races. Says it is about time. But when a guy that's dominated this race and won it 5 times struggles like he did, something bad happened to his car. He just said maybe a suspension piece or something
maybe something broke at the back. But honestly, we're talking about a 9th place finish, I believe it was. that car was trying to swap ends the whole race. So while you never get too excited about finishing ninth, that guy was driving his behind off to keep the thing under him.
Right, and I told him afterwards, I said, I think the points you saved at Toronto and today, I mean, that could bode well for your championship. If you win the championship, you'll look back on these two races where you didn't have much, and you salvage what you could.
So Helio Castroneves was hoping to do something big here to get ahead of Dixon in the championship. Lost actually a little bit of ground. Now he's still second, but actually a little bit more of a gap now with Newgarden in the lead. What are your thoughts there, brother? We know that he got a win. Good for him at Iowa, but
just that he's still qualifying in the Fast Six, and he's going to be there, and he's determined, and I just think, you know, he's going to have something to say about it. It's going to be a great last 4 races because you got at least a 3-car battle, and maybe 4 or 5. I mean, Graham really needed to probably win this race and lead the most laps and have fastest. I mean, to really, because I think he's still 59 points behind, and Will probably needed a little more help than he got. But yeah, Castroneves he impressed me. Sato was sitting on the pit wall. He finished 5th. Not a drip of sweat on him, and these guys are in such great shape.
I know.
And they're professionals, and they're driving their butt off.
Happiest 10th place finisher we've seen in a while, Connor Daly. He and his engineer. I mean, look, we're talking 10th, but for that team, knowing the struggles they've gone through this year, it was really impressive.
Well, and the good news is AJ watched the whole race. We talked to Ann Finoro, and didn't fall asleep, and he was proud of Connor and said he did a good job. And Connor needed this. He needed a good result, and he needs to, because we've seen that he's a good racer. Qualifying's been tough, so yeah, he got a little present from TK in qualifying, but he did a nice job in the race, passed a few cars, his old landlord, James Hinchcliffe. So, good for Connor Daly.
All right, we'll close on the one. To me, it's a little controversy. I don't think there's anything to it, but there was a lot of questions after the race about Esteban Gutierrez. Ed Jones spun, brought out the yellow. Gutierrez was right behind Newgarden, a lap down. Go back to green. Will Power obviously wants to get by. Gutierrez is fighting to stay there. Lots of questions being asked about what was right. Should have IndyCar have moved him out of the way? Did Dale Coyne do the wrong thing? Was Dale bad for telling him to fight? What do you think?
I think because he had another pit stop to make, the cool thing would have been just to bring him down right before the green and make his last pit stop and let the first 3 fight for it. And all that ever does is sometime down the road, if Bourdais needs a little break, it could come back to haunt you if something like that happens. But, I mean, he maintained a pretty good pace for, what'd you say, a half? I mean, after a half a lap, I think that's you just move over and let him go.
I have no problem with Gutierrez trying to fight Newgarden to get by him on the restart. I mean, look, the guy's a lap down. If you can get ahead, cool. It didn't even take halfway through the lap to figure out very quickly that wasn't going to happen. Right. So to me, at that point, the right thing would have been to say, hey, move aside. Let the
And you had, Marshall, you had such a great walk-up crowd to this. I mean, we were talking, God, nobody's here Friday. Saturday was kind of, today was mega. There was just people everywhere. And they sit here, and just give them that one chance. The race was pretty typical Mid-Ohio, but you had that one chance. You had Newgarden, Power, and Rahal lined up 1, 2, 3. I'm not saying they'd have beaten Newgarden, but at least give the fans that last shot. And one other thing, Takuma Sato said, add 150 yards to the keyhole, make it wider. We have 2 places to pass. So that's for you, Savary and Green.
Love it. All right, we've got a couple weeks off until the next race. Pocono is what's coming up next. Super Speedway. We know that's kind of a place that the Chevy teams are scared of the Hondas, as they should be. Indy 500 was a place where really got to see how strong the Honda Aero kit is in Super Speedway form. Tuesday here, we're going to have the 2018 road course bodywork test. I won't be here. I have other things to tend to, but we'll be reporting on that. All right, brother. Another race down. We're getting close.
Sebastian Bourdais makes his comeback tomorrow, right here. Gets to run 4 hours, and he looks great.
So,
thanks for watching. Marshall Pruett, Robin Miller, Racer. See, Paul, we wore our hats today.